Okay. First of all, hey guys, it's Josh Reviews. Second of all, let's address the elephant in the room. I've reviewed this movie already. Yeah. The movie that you're about to see in just a minute, I've reviewed this movie. I have reviewed All Hallows Eve. Yeah, I reviewed it back in 2019, or was it 2020? 2019, 2020, whatever. Yeah, I reviewed Wait a minute. No, it's not that movie. This is totally something different. It just happened to come out around the exact same time. How did they think they'd be okay with that? I don't know. So this is Hallows Eve, not All Hallows Eve, which, if you don't know, is the first film that stars Art the Clown, and that's how he made that was his first official debut in movies. Yeah. So this film has nothing to do with that. No, this movie is about a little girl that gets fucking run over by a tractor, and she's badly disfigured. She survives, but yeah, she's disfigured, and a bunch of teenagers, the kids of the parents that, basically led her into falling into the tractor. The parents of the kids, they got killed one by one by a mysterious masked individual. So I'm just gonna be blunt. The movie I had planned to review, was not really good, so I decided to review this movie instead. Not like this was any better. Yeah, this movie wasn't good. I didn't think it would be good, judging by the cover, but I at least expected to be entertained. I don't know, is that too hard to ask for? Apparently, yes. Yes, it is. Because this movie's bad. So, the plot I just described to you is all like in the first 5 to 10 minutes. The whole backstory with the little girl getting disfigured by the tractor, and then it cuts to 10 years later, and all these teenagers go to this haunted hayride attraction. Although it's not really well explained what kind of attraction it is. Is it like a haunt? Is it like a hayride attraction? Is it both? They don't ever explain it. They just kind of go back and forth between different shots. And a lot of the time we don't spend like any time at all in this haunt. It's mostly just outside shots of a cornfield. And yeah, this movie was really bad. But one thing surprised me was just how boring this fucking film was. A lot of the film is just these dumb teenagers just talking about dumb, stupid shit. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I have no problem with a movie that has to revolve around teens talking about dumb stuff. Hellfest did it perfectly because you actually gave a shit about those characters. These characters, I know nothing about them other than that 3 sisters, I think, are like horny for this one guy, and they constantly fight and call each other sluts. That's pretty much all I know about them. They don't, I honestly forgot all their names. The only character that I somewhat liked was the one stoner dude who you think is the main character, but then towards the end you're just like, oh, okay, he's not the main character. That's who. Oh, there's too many characters to count, so we don't know. Just pick one. Yeah, this movie really doesn't know who the main character is, does it? The first 40 minutes of this movie is so slow and boring that I struggled to watch it, but I was like, no, I gotta watch it. I've done that thing way too many times where a movie just loses my interest and I just kind of skip through it. I didn't want to do it this time. I didn't want to. But around the 50, 60 minute mark, I just had to start doing it. So I just skipped 10 seconds until something happened. And there's nothing, they don't really, okay, I'm just gonna say it again. Let's say it again. Hellfest did it perfectly. You get to know the characters well enough. They're nothing extraordinary. Even in Haunt, the characters aren't oh my God, they're not the most magnificent characters. Like, yeah, they're teenagers. They're generic teenagers talking about dumb things like sex and drugs, which, you know, is a given in any generic slasher. But the reason Hellfest and movies like Haunt work so well is because of the charisma and the acting that they bring. A lot of the characters, or I'm sorry, actors were, they were able to, the filmmakers were able to leave room for improv so they could kind of work off each other. And a lot of it felt natural and smooth. And not only that, they don't spend that much time on the characters just doing random stuff. Like, yeah, in Hellfest, the characters are walking through the theme park, you know, going haunt to haunt. But every scene you spend with them, they're doing something new, they're doing something different, something that keeps the story going. And when they do talk, yeah, they're talking about dumb shit, but the characters are likable enough that you're somewhat engaged in case they do talk about something that maybe is interesting. These films, I don't know what it is with these types of films. Just low-budget slashers, they just don't do that. They just really like to drag on characters just talking about sex and smoking pot. Although I will be honest, that one character that I mentioned, I forgot the name of it. I think his name is Tommy, I think. He's the one that's wearing a baseball cap or whatever. He was the only character I somewhat liked, and even then he wasn't a character I was really rooting for, but he was the only one that had some funny lines. I was kind of like, oh, okay, you know. And yeah, this movie's not well acted. It's not well shot, and oh my god, this film was edited terribly. I don't know what it is, but this film, I don't know what it is with these movies. These films are just poorly edited and poorly shot. The only saving grace I can really say for this film are the kills and Danielle Harris. Danielle Harris, if you don't know, plays Jamie in Halloween 4 and 5. She was also in the Rob Zombie remake. And she's really good. She's really good in this movie with what little time she has in the film. It's the same thing with Felicia Rose in Sleepaway Camp. You know, any film she's in, you know, both of these actresses can just nail it. They'll give it their all. And even if they're not in a good role, or like sometimes they can have like a miss here and there, you still feel like they give a shit. The people making this movie, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't feel any effort. No, that's not to say there isn't any effort. I don't want to shame the filmmakers, but it's just like, I felt nothing while watching this movie. So it's like, give me something. For the whole movie, that like, the kills don't start happening until like the 50-minute mark. And you're like, okay, well, that's fine. You know, some movies take their time with that. Like Halloween Ends. I think the first kill happens like in the beginning of the movie, the first 10 minutes. And then like the next kill happens like 55 minutes in or something like that, 40 minutes in, I don't know. But a lot of that is character development with Corey Cunningham. In this film, there's no character development. There's nothing. The characters don't learn anything. And then when you finally get to the end climax, you're like, okay, finally something interesting happens. And then it just kind of ends. Yeah. The only thing I can really say, the saving grace for this movie, is Danielle Harris and some of the kills. Some of the kills were pretty cool. There's a decapitation. I was like, okay, not bad. There's an eye gouging with a drill, and I'm like, oh, okay. That's pretty good. The rest of this film is really bad. I don't know what it is about these movies. They're just bad. What do you think? Yep. This movie's getting a D-. D as in these nuts, am I right?